All right. Well, I don't think I want to spend too many late nights with the devil, but that might be for some people. Maybe they do. I don't know. Maybe that's their thing. But what is happening here? Let's see what IMDb has to say. A live television broadcast in 1977, good year, goes horribly wrong, unleashing evil into the nation's living rooms. Woo. Huh. Everybody's gonna get the devil, I guess. All right, so this one has been released, I think, in some theaters, limited setting, and is now on Shudder. So everybody's enjoying it there. Lots of talk about this one. Lots of people liking this one. So I was definitely interested in catching it. What to say? Obviously, saw this recently. Obviously, new movie, so we'll keep this spoiler free to put that out there. But yeah, definitely an interesting film here, and mostly because of the setting. This isn't a typical horror setting. It takes place in a talk show, a live. Think Johnny Carson for those who know, Jimmy Kimmel. Oh God, what is his name? I can't even think of his name. But you know where I'm going with this. The late night people here. So think about that kind of setting, but obviously in 1977, and doing a talk show, that kind of just goes wrong. So yeah, Jack, I believe is his name, and he has the show. It's been on for a while. It seemed to be doing well for a little while, but then his wife passes away, and I guess that affected him or the show or the situation or whatever, and his ratings aren't doing so well. He's having a tough go of it. The show is kind of hanging on, and long and behold, it is our favorite time of year. It is around Halloween time, and he's of course doing what many people do and have a Halloween special, and obviously that entails kind of getting as spooky as can be, and they have a couple of people coming on and stuff that's going to happen that's kind of planned, and eventually it's going to go wrong, and it doesn't waste too much time in doing that. Let me see. I was curious how long it was. Oh, it's only an hour and a half. So, yeah, he has one individual come on in his first kind of guest. He does the usual kind of thing, does a little comedy kind of setup. But then his first guest comes on, and he's kind of like one of those psychics that are doing the trick, where they kind of pretending they're calling the spirits from beyond, and then talking to the people in the audience and saying a name, and then seeing if that meant something to the audience. I think some of you might have seen that kind of trick done before, and they kind of do that, and everything seems fine. But then he just kind of has this, when the skit kind of seems like it's over, he seems like he's getting another calling and another voice, and that kind of happens, and then they kind of take a break, and credit to them, they're going to kind of follow this on like it's being shot and so forth, and everything that you're seeing in this movie is they're telling you that has been shown, and you're seeing it back. You're not seeing it like it's happening. You're seeing it like they know the events happen, and you're seeing what had unfolded here after, if that makes any sense. So you kind of see them as the live show, and then you're kind of seeing the behind the scenes. As they go to the commercial break, you're seeing what's going on too. So they do that a couple of times, and as they do that, you learn a little bit about Jack, and he's there with someone, a producer, and then sometimes like his sidekick, and so after they do that, they bring on another guy who basically guarantees that everything the other dude just did is fake, and that nobody can really do this, and even his later guest that comes on, that's going to be fake, and so he's very skeptical of everything, and he can disprove everything that's going on here, and he even offers a check to anybody who you know, if they can actually prove that it's real, that this guy is really speaking to someone from beyond, or whatever is to come to follow. So, you know, kind of as this goes on, you know, as it's kind of hinted at there, um, definitely an evil presence has come there. Whether it was conjured up by this guy or this next guest who comes on, it is a woman and a young, I think she was a teenager, but if not, she's still a young woman. And she's very odd, a little awkward. She went through a tragic event, and you kind of learn a little bit about that. And yeah, so whatever, you can kind of take it as two ways. Either this young woman has brought her evilness with her, or this guy conjured up the evil. Wherever it came from, it is there. And as the further this goes on, it's not going to end well. And you know, then there's even another possibility, which I'm not going to say because then that kind of spoils things. But definitely, this is a late night show that kind of goes wrong, wrong. And you know, it's on Halloween, so of course it was gonna go wrong. So again, you know, and I'm not going to go into too much more detail. You know, I probably maybe said a little bit too much there. But yeah, I think the very first thing that's interesting just about this movie is the setting. You know, we don't see this kind of setting. You know, not only is it, you know, kind of good that they went back to 1977 again, a good year. So, you know, that kind of is a good thing. But then, you know, in a talk show, you know, we don't see, you know, too many horror movies kind of set in a show, and you know, seeing kind of horror unfold in front of an audience is another different thing. Again, it's interesting how, you know, you kind of see them, you know, when they're live on air, you kind of see it kind of in color. Then kind of when they go behind the scenes, you know, it's kind of a different, almost black and white kind of thing. They kind of shade it out so that you know that it's like a behind the scenes kind of thing. So you're getting, you know, also the whole show. You're getting, you know, what's going on for the audience, and then what's going on behind the scenes. And again, like I said, you know, as the behind the scenes go on, you kind of gather, you know, a little bit more about Jack, what the situation, his situation, the show's situation, and then, you know, what, you know, their reaction is to what is going on in front of the cameras. Because, you know, everything that kind of happens, they're kind of just going along like, hey, this is part of the show. But then backstage, you're like, you know, what is really happening here, and so forth. So it's just an interesting way they do that. So I thought that was pretty neat. As far as the horror that eventually comes, then, you know, I think that kind of thing we've kind of seen. It does get a little crazy. There is a pretty crazy scene there once the evilness of this movie really is shown, and you know, it takes the real big turn for the worse. Pretty interesting scene there, craziness. So it is a little bit of a mix. So I think the setting is kind of new, and that kind of setup. But then, you know, with the evilness, you know, we've kind of seen that before. So it's a little bit of a mixed bag there. I think it'll be interesting once you see the real reason behind everything, and a little bit more about Jack and him, and why maybe that this is really happening. I thought that was an interesting way, of why it kind of happened. You know, and then it kind of, you know, makes me, you know, think that, you just, you see it out there in the world sometimes, and you think that maybe somebody made a deal, you know, got where they were by making a deal with the devil, or somebody bad. I mean, I remember seeing in a Supernatural, they would talk about making deals with demons all the time. So, you know, to get what you want. And I thought that, you know, and that might be a little bit of a spoiler, but that kind of plays a role here. I thought that was an interesting thing that they did, and where they went. Because you really, you know, it's kind of like twofold. You know, you're watching the horror of it, and that or whatever, but then the real reason behind it, and so forth. So I thought that was kind of interesting. You know, I not sure. I've not read, other reviews and whatever. I just know the general feel is that everybody liked the movie, and it's not that I didn't like the movie. I was just kind of curious, and I guess I'll have to go and check out reviews now of, more of why really, this movie people really like the movie. Because like I said, the horror of it is like we've kind of seen it before, and there's this damn movie, and I keep wanting to look it up, and I can't remember that, and I've said it in another review because I wanted it as an example, and I can never remember the title of the movie. But there's another movie where I remember, and it's not too old. It has been within the last couple of years, and it might have even been on Shudder, where two, I think it was two guys or so were shooting. I don't know if it was a podcast or their own YouTube channel kind of thing, and they had a girl. She was going to be an actress, and she sat in the chair, and she was, and they were going to pretend like they were trying to summon some demon from her and whatever, and it was all supposed to be fake, of course, but unfortunately it becomes not fake, and a demon is actually gets in her, and then proceeds to cause other chaos between torturing the girl that this demon has taken hold of, and then the two guys that are in the room, and so forth. So I kind of remember that. I remember that with some other movie. I don't remember what it was. So I was kind of thinking of that because that kind of takes place here in a different roundabout way. So I don't think that the setting is more original and more different. That part of the movie that kind of the other part doesn't. I think they have some light comedy throughout of it, especially with the guy who's doesn't believe everything. I think he's making light of everything, and it's kind of funny, on top of the horror that's kind of getting worse and worse as it goes on. But then the end part, the part where I'm really trying not to talk about, say too much about, that was kind of interesting, and seeing what they do there, and kind of the real thing that is happening, or the real cause of everything that's happening. And I think they're going to stir the emotions of a little bit about Jack. You see him, he wants his show to go on, but he's struggling. He also lost his wife, so he's struggling. So I think there's going to be a little push and pull there between, do you really like him? Do you not? What more is there to learn about him? And then even some of the characters on stage, the young girl, obviously she's a huge source of what is happening here. But the story behind her and what happened to her, you're going to feel for her. But on the other hand, she's really sourcing the evil here. So there's that. And then, some of the other people there, I'd just say that. So it's just interesting. I think, one of the things that again, the setting and kind of the newness of that was good. But I don't know. I don't, and I'm not saying it was a bad movie. But I just think that a lot of people really, 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 really liked it, or I liked it, but I don't know. I don't know if I missed something or what it is there, so forth. So with that, I think I'm gonna give it 3 pools of blood. I definitely, again, I liked the movie. I like the new settings and that kind of thing, and just it being a different, we don't see this kind of setup and typical kind of horror, but then there is the typical horror that's kind of in it. So there's that, whatever. So I don't know. I think again, it is worth seeing. I encourage you, if you haven't seen it, to watch it. It is good. What does it say here? IMDb, 7. Okay, so people apparently really love it. 7.2 out of 10 on IMDb, and over almost getting closer to 2,600 ratings here. So for IMDb, that's pretty good, especially for horror. So yeah, lots of people are liking this. So again, I liked it. I don't know that I liked it to that extreme. But it was good, and I don't know. I guess I'm missing what people really liked. There's a little bit of a sad story in there too. But I don't know. That's all I can say. Good, worth seeing. Apparently everybody really, really loves it. I liked it. I don't know. I'm gonna guess I'm gonna be in a different boat for this one, I guess. So yeah, that's three pools of blood out of five. So with that, horrorscorereviews.blogspot.com is where you can find all my reviews written and video. But definitely more video of late. So like, subscribe, do everything that everybody wants you to do. If not, no worries. It is okay. It's fine. Twitter, Facebook information down below as well. So feel free to reach out. Feel free to reach out and explain why everybody really, really loves this movie and I just kind of liked it. I don't know. And definitely in the comment section as well. Please feel free to throw in your 2 cents there. And I mean, I guess it would be cool back in the day if you or anytime if you watch one of these late night shows and it kind of went off the handle like this one. Especially maybe one that you didn't really like the host, but for some reason watch the show. I don't know. But yeah, so again, three pools of blood for this one, and I will catch you on the next review, horror fans.